Welcome back to KMOT First News at 6. I'm John Jacklin. Baseball teams have been taking the field for the Northwoods League since 1992, but this year softball teams are getting to compete as well. The Softball League has 4 teams for its inaugural season in markets that already have a Northwoods League baseball team. Softball League Commissioner Catherine Reynolds attended last night's Honeybees Steam game in Minot. I talked with her about the reception of the league from the players, college coaches, and communities.
The reception's been overwhelmingly positive. I've spoken to a couple of Honeybees players here in Minot and hearing how great of an experience they're having. Hearing from college coaches that are tuning in to our live broadcasts every night and seeing what's happening in the Northwoods League. And they're really excited about it too, to want to send their players in the future. And then from a community standpoint, really good attendance that we're seeing across the league and get people to come back time and again after they see it once.
There are 26 teams in Northwoods League baseball, and softball is focusing on those markets for its own expansion. Reynolds spoke on the current status of league expansion.
At this point, still working on finalizing what those next locations will be, but definitely within the footprint of the current, the Northwoods League and Northwoods League baseball as it exists. And but that's what's most exciting about it, is the ability to create more opportunities across the country for softball athletes, coaches, umpires, and fans in those communities.
The Honeybees continue their homestand this evening against the Lacrosse Steam for Taylor Swift Night. I'm looking forward to getting out to the ballpark, and we'll have those highlights and scores for you at 10. We'll be right back.